The Lantern Festival lay in ruins. Smoke, fire, and the stench of shadow rot filled the air. Luca knelt on the ground, clutching Julian's limp body. Tears blurred his vision, dripping onto his brother's bloodied shirt. Luca choking, desperate. "Julian, please, no, don't do this to me." Damien stood behind them, his silver eyes unreadable, his shadows curling and dissolving in the night air. Luca screaming at him, "This is your fault. Who are you? What are you?" Damien's lips parted. He looked as though he might answer, but instead, he vanished into the shadows without a word. The silence left behind was unbearable. Luca pressed his forehead to Julian's chest, sobbing. And for the first time, Luca's world felt emptier than the night itself. Julian was taken home, unconscious but alive, barely. The town's healer said he might not wake for days. Luca sat by his bedside, exhaustion etched into his face. His mind kept replaying Julian's last words, "Stay away from him, he'll destroy you." But Luca's heart burned with something else, fury, longing, confusion. That night, when the world slept, Luca snuck out again. His feet carried him to the forest, as if fate itself were pulling him there. And in the shadows, Damien was waiting. Luca stormed toward him, fists clenched, tears still streaking his face. Luca furious. "Why? Why did you let this happen? You could have saved him. You could have stopped all of it." Damien flinched, just barely, but enough for Luca to notice. Damien low, pained. "I warned you to stay away." Luca snapping. "And yet you keep coming back. If you're so dangerous, then why do you keep saving me? Why do you?" His voice broke. The anger dissolved into trembling silence. Luca quieter, almost pleading. "Why do you care?" Damien's jaw tightened. He stepped closer until Luca could feel the cold aura of his shadows pressing against him. Damien whispering as if it were a confession. "Because I can't stop." The admission hung heavy in the air. Luca's heart skipped violently in his chest. Damien's hand lifted as if to touch him, but stopped inches away, trembling. Shadows writhed at his fingertips, hungry, dangerous. Damien hoarse voice. "I am not meant to protect. I was born to destroy. And if you stay near me, I will ruin you." Luca's lips parted. His chest ached, not from fear there, but from the weight of wanting someone he knew he shouldn't. Luca softly, almost a whisper, "Then ruin me." Damien's eyes widened. For a heartbeat, his mask shattered. Pain, desire, and centuries of loneliness flickering across his face. Before either of them could move closer, a low growl echoed through the trees. From the darkness stepped a cloaked figure, carrying a blade glowing faintly with silver runes. Hunter Cold commanding. "Step away from him, Shadow." Damien immediately shifted, his shadows coiling defensively around Luca. His silver eyes burned with hatred. Damien snarling, "You!" Luca looked between them, bewildered. "Luke, wait! What's going on? Who is—" Hunter interrupting, pointing at Damien. "That thing is a curse, a shadowbound, and it doesn't belong in this world." The Hunter's blade flared brighter. Damien's shadows hissed in response. Damien low, dangerous. "Leave, now." But the Hunter didn't leave. He lunged. The forest erupted in chaos. Blades of light clashed against tendrils of shadow. Trees splintered, the earth cracked, and Luca was thrown back by the sheer force of their clash. He screamed Damien's name, but neither man stopped. Blood sprayed across the leaves. Someone fell. The screen fades to black. In the war between light and shadow, whose side will love choose? The forest burned with clashing forces. Shadow tendrils whipped through the air like serpents, colliding with the silver glow of the Hunter's blade. Luca shielded his eyes, the force of the clash rattling his bones. Luca shouting desperately, "Stop! You'll kill each other." Neither listened. The Hunter's strikes were merciless, sharp, precise, each swing aimed to cut Damien down. Damien fought back with raw, terrifying power. His shadows lashed out, swallowing moonlight itself, forcing the Hunter back step by step. But then, steel met flesh. A blade tore across Damien's shoulder. Shadows shrieked as though alive, writhing wildly. Luca gasped, his heart wrenching. Luca screaming, "Damien!" For a split second, Damien faltered. His gaze flicked toward Luca, silver eyes wide with something unspoken. And in that moment, the Hunter struck again. The blade shot straight toward Luca. Before he could even move, Damien was there. His body slammed against Luca's, forcing him to the ground. Pain flashed across Damien's face as the blade pierced his side, blood spilling dark into the dirt. Damien hoarse, furious. "Don't touch him!" The shadows exploded outward like a storm, knocking the Hunter back several feet. Luca's hands trembled as he pressed against Damien's wound. The blood was cold, unnaturally cold. Luca panicked, voice breaking, "You idiot! Why would you do that for me?" Damien's lips curved in a faint, bitter smile. "Because you're the only light I've seen in centuries." The Hunter straightened, his cloak torn, his blade still glowing with lethal energy. Hunter shouting, "You don't understand, boy. That creature," he pointed at Damien, "will consume you. It's what the Shadowbound do. They seduce. They destroy, until nothing is left but ruin." Luca's chest tightened. He looked down at Damien, who was trembling from the wound but still standing protectively in front of him. Luca angrily, "You're wrong. If he wanted to destroy me, he would have let me die." The Hunter's eyes narrowed. Then you're already under his spell. He raised his blade again. Damien's strength faltered. His shadows lashed weakly, not as sharp, not as wild. The wound in his side was draining him. The hunter advanced. Luca stood between them, arms spread wide. His voice cracked with desperation. Luca, enough. If you want to hurt him, you'll have to go through me. The forest fell silent for a moment. Even the hunter froze. Damien's silver eyes widened, filled with disbelief and something else. A warmth he hadn't felt in lifetimes. Damien hoarse whisper? Luca. The hunter's expression hardened. His blade glowed brighter. So be it. When he destroys you, remember this moment. He stepped back into the darkness, vanishing as quickly as he had appeared. The forest fell eerily quiet. Luca turned back to Damien, dropping to his knees, panic flooding him. Luca desperate. Stay with me, please. Don't you dare leave me too. Damien's breath came ragged. His blood pooled across the dirt, shadows trembling like dying flames. Damien softly, fighting to stay conscious. You should hate me, fear me, run from me. Luca's hands pressed harder against the wound, tears streaming down his face. Luca fierce, trembling. I can't. I don't care what you are. I won't let you go. Damien stared at him for a long moment. Then, with the last of his strength, he whispered, Damien, then I am yours, even if it damns us both. His body went limp. Luca screamed his name, shaking him. Damien. The shadows around them shuddered, flickering like dying embers. And then, suddenly, they surged upward, wrapping around Luca, dragging him into darkness with Damien's unconscious body. His last vision before the world swallowed him. Silver eyes fluttering closed, and a voice in his head whispering, Welcome to the shadows, Luca. Love binds, love burns, and in the heart of darkness, it will choose its price. Luca's eyes fluttered open. He was no longer in the forest. Instead, he found himself inside a vast cavern of obsidian stone, walls pulsing with faint silver veins of light. Shadows curled and moved like smoke, alive, breathing. And there, lying against a throne of black stone, was Damien, pale, wounded, yet terrifyingly beautiful. Luca rushed to him, falling to his knees. Luca urgent, whispering, Damien, please, wake up! Damien stirred, silver eyes opening faintly, his breath ragged. Damien weakly, You shouldn't be here. Luca grabbed his cold hand, pressing it to his chest. Luca fierce, trembling. Then send me away. But I won't leave you. Not like this. For the first time, Damien didn't fight his touch. The wound on Damien's side still bled shadow instead of blood. Luca, desperate, leaned down, tearing his sleeve and pressing it against the injury. Luca soft, broken. Don't you dare leave me. You already saved me more times than I can count. Let me save you now. Damien's hand lifted, shaky, brushing Luca's cheek. Shadows curled gently around his fingers, caressing as if they knew Luca. Damien whisper, vulnerable. You don't know what you're asking for. My touch corrupts. My love destroys. Luca leaned closer, their foreheads touching, eyes locked. Luca soft, breathless. Then let it destroy me, because I'd rather burn with you than live without you. Damien's control shattered. Without another word, Damien's lips claimed Luca's, hungry, desperate, trembling with centuries of loneliness. The shadows around them pulsed violently, wrapping the two in a cocoon of darkness. Luca gasped against his mouth, but didn't pull away. He pressed closer, fingers tangling in Damien's hair, pulling him deeper. Every kiss was fire and ice, fear and longing, agony and bliss. Damien between breaths, voice breaking. You shouldn't want me like this. Luca panting, fierce, too late. The cavern trembled with their bond. Damien pushed Luca back gently, laying him against the obsidian floor, hovering above him. His silver eyes glowed in the dark, full of conflict and desire. Damien hoarse, trembling. If I give in, there will be no going back. Luca whisper, pulling him down. Then don't go back. Just stay with me. Their mouths met again, deeper this time. Damien's cold lips grew warmer with every heartbeat. Shadows slid across Luca's skin, not painful, but electric, as if claiming him. Luca arched into the touch, a soft gasp escaping him. The world disappeared. No hunters, no curses, no fate. Just them. Just as Damien's control finally snapped, as the shadows began to sink into Luca's very soul. A violent surge of light exploded in the cavern. Luca cried out, shielding his eyes. Damien hissed, shadows recoiling in fury. Standing at the mouth of the cavern, the hunter, blade glowing brighter than ever. Hunter furious, shouting, I warned you. And now he's marked. Luca's wrist burned with sudden searing heat. He looked down. An inky black sigil had appeared, glowing faintly where Damien had touched him. Damien snarling, stepping in front of Luca. Leave him out of this. But the hunter's blade pointed straight at Luca. Hunter, it's too late. He belongs to the shadows now. Luca's chest heaved, torn between fear and exhilaration. Damien stood in front of him, silver eyes blazing, his body trembling from both wound and rage. The hunter raised his blade. The cavern shook, shadows screamed, and Luca whispered almost to himself. Luca shaking, breathless. Then let me belong to him. The cavern shook as the hunter's blade ignited, flooding the chamber with pure light. Damien's shadows writhed violently, hissing like wounded beasts. Damien snarling, voice like thunder, touch him, and you die. The hunter's eyes narrowed, his face grim but resolute. Hunter, he's already bound. You've cursed him. Luca staggered to his feet, clutching his burning wrist where the sigil glowed faintly black. His chest pounded with confusion, fear, and undeniable desire. Luca shouting, desperate, I chose this! I chose him! The hunter faltered, but only for a breath. Then he lunged. Steel and shadow collided, shaking the cavern to its core. Every strike lit up the chamber with violent flashes, silver clashing against endless black. Luca pressed against the wall, torn between terror and awe. Damien fought like a storm unleashed, his shadows responding to his rage, whipping and slicing the air like blades. But he was still weak from his wound. Each movement cost him blood, each step wavered. The hunter pressed his advantage. His blade sliced across Damien's chest. Luca screamed. Luca pleading, frantic, stop it! You'll kill him! But neither man stopped. The sigil on Luca's wrist suddenly flared. Pain seared through his arm, dropping him to his knees. And then, shadows erupted from his body. Luca gasped, staring in shock as tendrils of black mist spiraled around him, responding to his fear, his rage, his love. Hunter shocked, furious. No, he's awakening already? Damien froze, silver eyes wide, staring at Luca. Damien hoarse, almost reverent, you're mine. The hunter raised his blade again, determined to sever the bond. But Luca, without even realizing what he was doing, threw out his hand. Shadows burst forward, shielding Damien from the strike. The cavern fell silent. Luca collapsed into Damien's arms, trembling. His chest heaved, eyes wide with fear. Luca panting, terrified. What's happening to me? Damien cupped his face, silver eyes burning with an emotion too deep, too raw. Damien soft, reverent. You carry my mark. My shadows are in you now. We're bound, in life, in death, in everything. Their faces were inches apart, breath mingling. Luca's lips parted, trembling. Luca whisper, aching. Then don't ever let me go. Their mouths met again, desperate, frantic, sealing the vow with fire. Shadows swirled around them like a storm. The hunter staggered back, shielding his eyes from the torrent of shadows. His blade flickered uncertainly. Hunter gritting teeth. Fools, you don't know what you've done. That bond will consume you both. His figure blurred into light, retreating into the forest beyond the cavern. But his words lingered, sharp as steel. Damien held Luca tightly, shadows curling protectively around them both. His voice was low, trembling, not with fear, but with something far more dangerous. Damien whispering against Luca's lips, they'll come for us. Hunters, shadows, gods themselves. They'll try to tear us apart. Luca's arms wrapped around his neck, clinging fiercely. Luca soft but defiant. Let them try. The cavern pulsed with their bond, shadows and light, trembling as if the world itself feared what had just been created. A vow made in shadows cannot be broken, but every vow demands a price.